this is Alfonso Escámez, and welcome to a new chapter of Indie Talks. Today, we are going to meet a young watch brand founded in 2023, last year, by four entrepreneurs, Thierry Fischer, Jeremy Frelichaud, Axel Luenberger, and Mehmet Korduk. Vanguard stands out for the design of its cases and the complexity of its calibers. For a more in-depth look at the brand, we have with us Jeremy Frelichaud, CTO and founder of the brand. Good morning, Jeremy. How are you?
Hi, Alfonso. I'm good. Thanks. And you?
Welcome to Indie Talks at Doble Firma. Then for our viewers and followers, who is Jeremy Frelichaud and how do you get started into watchmaking? And what was your previous experience in this sector?
So I'm a watchmaker and a watch mechanism designer. My previous experience, so I finished my apprenticeship a long time ago. It was in 2001. And then I worked at Girard-Perregaux for 6 years, which was an amazing experience because I really liked this brand. It was when I was in apprenticeship. It was my favorite brand, so I had a huge chance to be able to work for Girard-Perregaux. And then I did 10 years at Audemars Piguet Renaud et Papy. So APRP is a structure at Audemars Piguet dedicated to complication. And it's a kind of design office that work from not only for Audemars Piguet, but also for several brands in the Swiss watch industry, like Richard Mille, Chanel, and many other. So during those 10 years, I had the opportunity to work on amazing products and amazing complication, and also had the opportunity to work with Giulio Papi, which is for me one of the genius of the modern time in the watchmaking industry. And what can I say more? And yeah, Audemars Piguet is Renaud Papi is well known because it's also the a kind of tool for the watch mechanism designer, and a lot of very well-known brands and people that comes from Audemars Piguet, Renaud Papi, like Forcel, the Goldfeld brother, Andreas Feller, Louis Monet, and many, many others. So for me, it was a kind of tool for the watch mechanism design.
Yes, because it should be an amazing experience, not to work with Giulio, because he's not so well known maybe in the watch sector because he's working for AP Renaud Papi, but he's one of the most prestigious watchmakers in the sector, no?
Yeah, absolutely. And he has this sense of mechanical things. So, you have sometimes engineer in the design office that can explain deeply in the theory with some complex calculation, complex mathematics. But Giulio has this ability to explain things in an easy way. He can do the most complicated things and explain it to you, and it seems like something very basic. He can do, like, for example, a good example is the proprietary calendar that he did for Audemars Piguet, the flat one. When you see the conception, you see something that is obvious. It's not the usual calendar that is very complicated with a lot of parts going in every direction, one on top of the other. These conceptions are always very, very simplified, and everything is easy to understand and to apprehend.
Okay, great. Do you remember your first watch as a kid?
Yeah, I remember it. I think I was maybe 6 or 7 years old, and it was a gift from my grandparents, and it was a Flick Flack. I don't know if you know this brand. At the time, it was the brand
Yes.
the parents made as a gift to the children to help them to learn how to read the time. So it was my first watch. This one. Isn't it beautiful?
Okay. Oh, yeah. You still have it.
Yeah, I still have it. There is one thing with this watch that no other watchmakers can compete with. They have a unique selling point. They say you can wash it in the washing machine, which is pretty unique. And I don't recommend to do it with any other watch.
Yes, for sure. What made you found your own brand, and how is to start and to found a brand from scratch?
So what made us start? When I was at IPRP, we had the most amazing project that we could imagine. But after 10 years, I wanted to do something else, something different. And APAP and Onbar Piguet is for me one of the best brand and one of the best company in Swiss. It was really hard to find something else to do in another company because I didn't want to leave Onbar Piguet for something that was not as good. So then the only solution that we found with my other colleague Axel, that was also at Onbar Piguet was to create our own company and to do our own products. And that's why we started, just to get a new challenge and do something different from what we did at APRP.
Mhm. How is the division of the roles between you and the rest of the team?
So we are 4 co-founders. I just spoke of Axel, which is the CEO. So he's in charge of everything. So we oversee all operation and ensure that everyone is pulling in the same direction. And he's also an amazing watch mechanism designer. So he has also worked with Giulio Papi. It was his right-hand man, I think we say in English, for 7 years.
Mhm.
So he has a very good comprehension of the watches and the watch mechanism. So he's really in charge of overseeing everything and making sure that everything goes in the same direction. And then we have Thierry Fischer, who is the designer. And he's the one that ensure that our products looks good and are wearable. His previous position was at Etude de Style, which is a design office in Switzerland that worked for a lot of
Mhm.
different Swiss watch brands, including Audemars Piguet. That's why we met, because we worked together on several projects at the time. And then we have Mehmet Korotur, which is the president of the company. He's in charge more of all the social aspects and the event that goes around the brand. And he's the one that made us start the company because we had the idea. We had the idea of the product. We had the mechanical idea of how to make it work. But we missed a very important part. It was a company and financing of the company. So he's the one that helped us find the first investor and the one that made the adventure
Mhm.
possible at the time.
Okay, great. What do you think is the DNA of Vanguard watches, and what do you think also sets you apart from the rest?
Um, so the DNA of Vanguard, we tend to explore what the future of watchmaking can be with no boundaries or limitations.
Mhm.
And we try to bring together advanced technologies, craftsmanship, and traditional techniques to create something that is both surprising and extraordinary. So we try to design for tomorrow while staying true
Mhm.
to the craftsmanship of today. And we try to keep our focus on creating experiences that evoke a kind of sense of wonder and inspire the imagination. And we have this kind of balance between the futurism and the authenticity, and between the innovation
Mhm.
and the tradition. And I think it's what defines Vanguard and makes us quite unique.
Mhm. Also, the shapes of the cases, no, that are quite different from the rest.
Yep, yep. The shape, so it's the work of Thierry Fischer. Uh,
Mhm.
so Thierry Fischer is a huge fan of a lot of things, but of spaceship and aeronautics, and it's something that you can find in our watches.
Mhm. As you are the one of the watchmakers, is the caliber adapted to the case or the case to the watch? In the case that you have a very different shape
Yeah,
of cases.
it's both. So there is one thing
Oh.
that is I really appreciate in our company. It's the designer and the watch mechanism designer work together. So in most of the companies, you take a caliber, you take the case, and you try to make something with both. The chance that we have is that we work closely with Thierry, and when he has an idea, we try to make something that fits its idea, but he also does things that can match what we can do technically. So there is no one caliber that goes into the case. It's really a mix of both, and we try to make things work together in the case with the watch mechanism.
Okay. What are your inspiration when creating your watches? Do you have any kind of inspiration in any other brands or sectors?
We have a wide range of influences. I would say mainly it's art and architecture. And I can speak a bit for Thierry, the chief designer. I know he has always been fascinated by the sculptural beauty of sports car. So it's something that shaped his sense of proportion, harmony, and beauty. And also, as I said before, he's inspired a lot by aeronautics and a bit of science fiction. So those are some inspiration that you can find on the case of our watches. And regarding the inside of the watch, so the mechanism, the inspirations can come from pretty everything. So of course it comes from our colleague watchmaker and some of their amazing conception that they can do, but it can also come from several different fields of the mechanic and often the engineering. And so from a watchmaking point, we can get inspiration for a lot from the other brands that do those amazing mechanism, but it can also come from any engineering field or any mechanical field. It's not only watches, it can be from, I don't know, maybe from a specific mechanism to close the door or a mechanism to mill something. Yeah, it can come from pretty anything. The inspiration is everywhere when you're a mechanical designer.
Great. Can you tell us a little bit about your two different collections, the black hole and the tourbillon and the orb?
Yeah. So the first model that we presented 3 years ago was the black hole. So we try to show it on the screen. So it's this one. It's the watch that made us create the brand. And basically, Thierry had an idea something like 10 or 15 years ago, and he made a small video of a mechanism that was mimicking a black hole. And this video, which is still available on Vimeo, I think, had a lot of recognition in the watch industry. But everybody was saying, yeah, it's really cool, the concept is amazing, but mechanically it's not viable. You can do it with a quartz mechanism, maybe, but mechanically it's not possible. And when we met Thierry with Axel, we knew that he was the one that had this idea. And we told him, yeah, we think that there is a way to make it mechanical. And we worked a bit on it, and it was really the beginning of the adventure. So we kept his idea, which is having, I don't know if you will see it on the screen, but you have,
Yes.
how can I show it? You have, it's quite hard, the time that is digital, so it's 11:13, and the time is on some discs that are shaped like a vortex. And this vortex is the traditional representation of the black hole. So black hole is an astronomical phenomenon. And above this, you have a flying tourbillon. And the flying tourbillon is always, it's a bit technical, but when you have the traditional representation of the black hole, you have the top of the black hole of this vortex shape. It's the event horizon, and it's the place where the gravity become, I don't know the term in English, but something like unfightable. You can't escape the gravity anymore once you go past the event horizon. And the tourbillon, when Breguet patented it 200 years ago, the goal was to fight the gravity. So we put the flying tourbillon just above the event horizon to show that it fights the gravity. It's a bit poetical, but yeah, that's how we did it. And the thing that is really cool with this watch, I will try to show it on the screen. It's that you have a kind of automated, semi-automated time setting function. So now it's 11:15, and if I take the crown out and if I do some small impulse, I can I do? Correct the time backward, forward, and I can make it flow continuously.
Oh, wow.
So the time will flow, and this goes in both directions. And it's fully mechanical. And you can see the movement on the back. And it's the same when I make it move. You will see that there is a small flywheel here that will turn every time I do an impulse with the crown. And it's the part that will give the tempo to the disc. So the disc have a kind of fixed speed, because if it was too fast, it wouldn't be interesting, and too slow, it will be a bit boring. So we have this flywheel that will give the speed of the disc. We also have the power reserve that is right here. So you have those white lines that will disappear when the power reserve runs out, and that will reappear when you wind the watch up. And you have light is not so good. I don't know if you can see them clearly, but you have 6 small windows on the bottom of the watch. And if I go forward or backward, you can see that the color change, and it's to indicate in which way will flow the time, because you can use the watch as a countdown. So you can let it go backward, and you can count, for example, 11 minutes to go from 11 to 0. So it acts like a countdown. And so this is the first product that we presented. We spoke of the shape of the watch before. So yeah, it's a bit of a spaceship. But it's still something very
What's
wearable.
the size of What's the size of the case?
So we don't have lugs. So the equivalent with a case with lug will be something like 42 millimeters. So I have you should be there so you can try it on your wrist, but I have a very small wrist and it fits quite well on a small wrist. So it's around the equivalent of 42, and it's 15 millimeters on the glass.
Okay.
And it has a power reserve of 42 hours. And also, I forgot one function. We have a second crown. With this one, you can correct only the hours. So it will act like a kind of GMT, which is very convenient, because if you have to correct for 5 hours with the minutes, it can be a bit long. That's why we put the second crown. So yes, this was the first product that we presented 3 years ago. It's a limited edition, so we did only 8 of this one. This one is a prototype, but then we did only 8 of this one in titanium. So on this one, pretty everything is in titanium. The case, most of the movement, the disc, most of the part of the tourbillon. And then we had a limited edition of the same, but in black PVD coated. And then we had the same in gold. So the case is in full gold. I don't have one, unfortunately. You can see it on our website.
Yeah.
So this was
and
3
then the
years ago.
second one was the orb, no?
Yeah, exactly. And we presented it this year. Unfortunately, I don't have a finished piece. I only have the prototype, which is not fully decorated. And this year we presented the orb, which is a bit more classical. So the shape of the watch is more. You don't have the spaceship shape anymore, but we'll find the same. Some of the code of the black hole. This one we keep them on the orb. And this one has the hour and minutes on traditional hands, and the same flying tourbillon. And also, I don't know if we can see it on the screen, but there is a small diamond that is moving around the watch.
Mm-hmm.
It's always on top, and it's on the oscillating rotor. So it's an automatic movement, but
Mm-hmm.
we wanted to have something very symmetrical from the front side and the back side. So we tried to remove the oscillating weight. So we didn't put it on
Mm-hmm.
the center of the movement like most of the caliber are, and we put it outside of the movement. So it's a peripheral rotor,
Mm-hmm.
and the diamond is set on this
Mm-hmm.
rotor. We have a function selector. So if I push on the crown, I can change the function and go from the automatic mode to the time setting mode to a manual
Mm-hmm.
mode. And on the manual mode, if I make a whole turn of the watch, the diamond will be locked at 12. So you lock
Uh-huh.
the automatic function. And then if I push the
Mm-hmm.
crown once again, I can release the oscillating weights. Yeah, we presented
Okay.
it this year. We finished all the tests on the prototypes, and we're beginning the production right now. So we will deliver the first pieces in a few days, few weeks.
Mm-hmm. And is it also a limited edition?
This one is limited by our production capacities because we are a very small
Okay.
company, and it's not numbered, numbered, but it's really limited by the
Mm-hmm.
production of the company. And we will communicate on how many pieces are made from each model. So the first one will be almost this one because it's not fully decorated, but it will be a titanium one like this. Then we have in parallel we have a gold piece, so it's almost the same but
Mm-hmm.
with the gold case. And each time we'll communicate how many watches that we've done for each series. Um, the prediction of this one next year will be something like 80 pieces.
Mm-hmm. Then what is your yearly production approximately?
So up to now, with the black hole, we did between 8 and 15 pieces per year. And
Mm-hmm.
then with the orb, we decided to increase the production. We'll produce something next year. It will be 80, but we will keep around 80 to 100 pieces per year. So we've a bit increased the size of the company for this one. We've extended the number of people. So before I was the only watchmaker. Now we are 4 watchmakers,
Mm-hmm.
so we can produce a bit more. It will be easier.
Mm-hmm. Your calibers are all in-house?
Yeah, it's all in-house. So both watches have the same flying tourbillon. So it's the same base for
Mm-hmm.
the movement from the barrel to the tourbillon. And then we add the complication around, like for the black hole, the disc. And for this one, we add the automatic system, but the base is always the same and it's always in-house. So the design is made in-house, then the production of the components is outsourced with our partner in the region of La Chaux-de-Fonds and in we say Arc Jurassien in Switzerland. It's a part where everybody works in the watchmaking industry. And then we take all the components in-house to make the decoration. So we have a workshop of decoration with 2 people that spend a lot of time doing all the sandblasting, the polishing, the satinage, and a lot of different decoration. You can see it on the camera, but there is really, really a lot of time that is spent on the decoration. We put it really high end because the movements are very architectural. So there are a lot of detail that can be perceived when you observe the watch. So we try to decorate everything to the maximum that we could do. That's why we have our atelier of decoration in the house. And then we have the
Mm-hmm.
watchmaker that do the assembly, and yeah, then you have a watch.
Okay, great. What is approximately also the price range of your these two models?
The orb one, the titanium one, is 150,000 Swiss francs. Then
Mm-hmm.
the gold one is 180. And for
Mm-hmm.
the black hole, the price starts at 320,000 Swiss francs.
Okay. Okay, great. How do you see the brand in the, for example, next 5 to 10 years? You have said you are planning to increase production. You are
Yep.
expanding the facilities. What do you think about the future of Vanguard?
So we will try to reinforce the teams. So we need a bit more people in every workshop to be able to increase a bit the production. And the pure Vanguard, for me, it's we don't have a planification in the long term, knowing exactly what we will do. We know that we want to continue to do products that we enjoy and to do good products and spend good time doing them. So for us, the future is just having fun doing watches.
Any new complications or more traditional complication in your watches?
We have,
Or
sure.
just a different conception of the classic complications?
Yeah, it will be more different conception of classical computation. Unfortunately, I won't speak too much about the future products, but we have a lot of idea in our minds.
Okay, great. What are your main markets?
Up to now, we've sold pieces in the US, Middle East, and Europe. I think it's the main market that we have. But yeah, honestly, we don't aim for specific markets, but we are more aiming for specific customer, and they can be everywhere. We just want to share our passion with the people that buy the products. So we try to find list of fascinated people, which whom we can speak about the watches and
Then, what measure are you taking to be a better known brand? Because now you are a small one, and we met at the Milano Watch Week, but you don't have that image all around the world.
Yeah. So the first measure for us is to make good products and to make good mechanical art pieces. The first one, and to make us known. So we attend several fairs. So we met at Milano. We did the Geneva Watch Week. We went to Dubai. So we'll continue to do several weeks around the world. And we also have a lot of different events. You can sometimes see them on our Instagram feed all around the world, where we meet people that share our passion. And we just share with those people that then can share the passion, and it's a kind of way to share the brand to the world.
Where can we find your watches? What are your points of sales?
So for Europe, you can just call us. And then for Middle East and the US, we have two partners that we will announce in the next weeks. So we just ask you to be a bit patient for those two. They are big partners that everybody knows. And you can get a hint of them if you go on our website. And then for the rest of the world, including Europe, you can just call us or send us a message, and we can arrange something to meet the people for the products.
Okay, and then my last question is a question that I do to all the interviewees: is if you were not wearing a Vanguard watch, what brand and model would you wear?
Yeah, so I'm a watchmaker, and there are a lot of watches that I would like to have. I forbid myself to buy them all because I would be ruined. But I would like to have, I don't exactly know which model, but one of the Oxun Junior watch. I think maybe the moon phase or an annual calendar, because mechanically they are just amazing watches. I don't know if you know the brand, but it's really something that you have to discover, because the main watch mechanism designer, is also a kind of genius, and he can do things that I think nobody else in the industry can do. For example, he did an annual calendar with something like 6 or 7 pieces. So usually when you have an annual calendar module, it's 72 pieces, something like this, and it did with only 7. So it's really a genius. And these watches, they're all based on the simplification of the complications. It's a state of mind that are really like, because doing something simplified and not complicated is really the way to do good things for me. So yeah, one Oxon Junior. I think one of the German brands like Moritz Grossmann would be amazing because I really like the finishes of the movement. I think the Bennu Power Reserve would be one good choice. So the watch is just perfect for me, and the movement is beautiful. It could also be a Lange und Söhne, but everybody knows Lange und Söhne, so Moritz Grossmann is maybe a bit less known. And then, yeah, there are plenty of watches that I would like to wear.
Yeah. Okay, Jeremy Frereshaw, CTO and founder of Vanguard Watches. Thank you for being with us here at Indie Talks for Doble Firma. It has been a real pleasure, and if you come to Spain, here you have us. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.